Welcome to Half 2-4. In today's episode, a new club for Jack Grealish and the worst transfer in Premier League history. These figures are shocking. Poker at Old Trafford. Why Rafael Leao will move to United after all. Fabrizio Romano confirms Sandro Tonali is for sale for an incredible amount. Also today, Cristiano Ronaldo's scandalous chase for 1,000 goals and the captain's gesture that silenced the entire stadium. We are talking about all this and much more right now. Last night, Cristiano Ronaldo silenced the world once again. A trademark header in the match against Al Hilal, and a new figure appeared in the record books. 970 career goals. Only 30 steps remain to the mark that once seemed impossible for a human 1,000. The Portuguese isn't just playing out his career, he is writing history at full speed in real time. The facts. Al Nassr won 2-0, reaching 79 points after 30 rounds. Al Hilal is 8 points behind. Just one match on May 3rd against Al Qadsiya and the Saudi Pro League title is in the bag. This will be his first league gold in 4 years. While skeptics mocked the move, calling it a retirement and pasture, Ronaldo assembled a team around him that produced a streak of 20 consecutive wins. 17 clean sheets in the league, a record he once set at Real, now repeated on another continent at 41 years old. And you know what is most interesting? Just yesterday, Al Ahly fans, fresh Asian champions with 2 consecutive titles, began provoking Cristiano. They showed him 2 fingers, as if to say, see, we are the kings of the continent.
Okay, you said 5 champions for sure.
I have 5.
Ronaldo looked, thought for a second, and simply showed his palm 5. 5 Champions Leagues. Conversation over. 30 goals remain until the magic 1,000. There are already 25 this season. One more year at the club and the figure becomes reality. But the main thing isn't even the statistics. Ronaldo has won everything. 5 Champions Leagues, 5 Ballons d'Or, titles in 3 different top leagues. Only one trophy remains, which you have already guessed. The 2026 World Cup. With only 42 days until the World Cup starts, Cristiano goes there with a league title, form at the level of 25 goals per season, and the hunger of a man who still has something to prove. For the last time. This is not surviving on the pitch. This is Ronaldo's final run. And honestly, I wouldn't bet against him. Fabrizio Romano wrote a few words, and the transfer market froze. Sandro Tonali is not returning to Italy. He is staying in the Premier League. And the question immediately arises, but where exactly? The facts. Tonali's contract at Newcastle runs until 2029, and the club even has an option to extend it for another year. It would seem he is settled and going nowhere. But there is one detail. Newcastle is currently in 12th place, 12 points behind the Champions League zone, and the chances of making the top 4 are minimal. And Tonali is a player used to playing on the big stage, and he remembers it. The most interesting part? Only a week ago, everyone was writing about a U-turn, that the player suddenly decided to return to Serie A and turned his back on City, Arsenal, and Chelsea. And suddenly, bam, Romano refutes all of this with one tweet. Tonali is staying in England. So either the information about Italy was wrong, or the player changed his mind in literally a few days. In both cases, he has options, and he is weighing them. United, Arsenal, and City are all in line. Newcastle is asking for at least £100 million. Guardiola is even personally calling Tonali's father. They have a mutual friend from Brescia. And Pep says, my Italian is perfect, so I can communicate with him. This is no longer scouting. It is a personal courtship. My opinion, Romano did one important thing. He took the option of returning to Italy off the table. Now the race is open. If Arsenal wins the championship, they have the strongest argument. If not, City, with their money, and Guardiola will simply outbid everyone. United, well, they want him too. But desire and capability are different things. Sandro Tonali will be the hottest commodity on the English market this summer, and 100 million is only the starting point. Mohamed Salah will not leave Anfield through the back door after all. After the injury in the match against Crystal Palace on April 25th, the forecasts were grim, a muscle tear, and the end of the season. However, a fresh statement from the Liverpool press office changed everything. The muscle damage turned out to be minor. The Egyptian will have time to recover for the final rounds to officially take the field and say goodbye to the fans before his summer transfer. This will be the last dance that Salah deserves after everything he has done for the Merseysiders. Rafael Leao deleted his Instagram, and this is the point of no return. When your own club's fans boo you for 2 matches in a row and you disappear from the network in response, it becomes clear the Portuguese no longer wants to be part of Milan. At this moment, United enters the stage, but don't expect them to just throw money at the Italians. They are starting a big game where the fate of the entire summer rebuild is at stake. The cards are on the table. United has already made the first move, but their offer is a real cold shower for the Rossoneri. We are talking about 50 to 60 million euros. This is almost 3 times less than the player's release clause, but the Mancunians are hitting a weak spot. They know it is impossible to keep a star in depression. A real poker game begins. United is trying to include Deadwood in the deal to lower the price. On the exchange list are Julian Alvarez, who never settled, Manuel Ugarte, or even Marcus Rashford, whose loan at Barcelona does not guarantee his future. However, Milan wants only direct payments because they need cash for Alexander Sorloth from Atletico. Why is United so desperately trying to save money and haggling over every million? The answer lies in the club's new, tough strategy revealed by Mark Ogden. Now, iron pragmatism reigns at Old Trafford. Sell first, buy later. This is no longer the United that was an ATM for all of Europe. The summer plan is to raise between 80 and 90 million pounds solely from sales. Ugarte, Joshua Zirkzee, Rasmus Højlund, Rashford, Sancho, and Casemiro, they all must go to free up space and funds for new leaders. The club has calculated everything to the cent. This money will cover the costs of one priority midfielder, and the rest of the budget will go to 4 other key positions. The first test of this new discipline has already been passed. United officially pulled out of the race for Elliot Anderson, for whom Forest demanded an absurd 120 million pounds. While City prepares to overpay, United called this amount absurd. The club is now looking for value in other players to avoid inflating the market bubble. But amidst this chaos of sales and bargaining, there is one person around whom everything will be built. Mainoo signed a new contract until June 2031. His salary will soar to £120,000 per week, and this is the club's best investment. Under Michael Carrick, Mainoo has turned into a diamond that was nearly lost under previous coaches. Now, he is the heart of the new project. My view, what we are seeing now is not just a transfer window. It is a renovation of ideology. Refusing to overpay $120 million for Anderson and the tough poker with Milan for Leao show that United is recovering. They are no longer buying names. They are buying the future on their own terms. 100 million euros, a 7-year contract, £100,000 per week, and a 4-year disqualification. This is not a transfer anti-rating. It is an obituary. Mainoo Mudryk has officially become the worst signing in Premier League history, and it is no longer a discussion. The facts. The FA gave Mudryk 4 years for an anti-doping offense, the maximum sentence. He is appealing the decision to CAS. The process is ongoing. He hasn't played for over a year and a half. And after the ban ends, if confirmed, he will still have 1 year left on his Chelsea contract. 1 year out of 7. This is what the most expensive mistake in English football looks like. But there is an important nuance. 4 years is the standard first sentence in doping cases. The system always works this way. Maximum first, then appeal, then reduction. Paul Pogba received 4 years. CAS reduced it to 18 months. This is a common practice, not a final verdict. If Mudryk proves the violation was unintentional, which is how terms are usually shortened, the real ban could be those same 18 months or 2 years. The appeal is expected around June. If all goes well, he could theoretically return immediately after the World Cup. Theoretically. And you know what is worst about this whole story? Even if Mudryk returns, what will he return to Chelsea? They spent 100 million on a player who didn't even play 200 minutes in normal form. He never revealed his potential, he never met a single expectation, and now this. My opinion, Mudryk is a tragedy, not a crime. A young guy, huge money, huge pressure, and a system that couldn't protect him from expectations or this situation. But Chelsea is a separate conversation. A club that signs a player for 100 million for 7 years without a proper check deserves this record. The worst transfer in Premier League history. You can hand out the diploma. While some stars are fighting for Ballon d'Or at 30, Jack Grealish is fighting sleeping sickness in the bars of Manchester. The Everton winger, currently nursing an injury, has once again become the star of social media. But this time, not for a brilliant assist, but for a viral photo where he fell asleep right at the table after another bender. Jack has returned to his roots, but is there room for top-level football in this story? Let's be honest, Grealish was never a model of discipline. We remember his adventures from his Aston Villa days, but then he was 20 and now he is 30. Jack is spending this season on loan with the Toffees, and his statistics, 2 goals and 6 assists in 22 matches, look decent, but certainly not for the money paid for him. In the summer, the loan ends, and Jack must return to City. But let's face the truth. In Guardiola's system, there is no more room for such a Grealish. The citizens need to unload the wage bill, as keeping a player with a salary of over £15 million per year who falls asleep in bars is too much even for champions. Returning to the Etihad is just a formality before a new, likely, final transfer. I initially thought about not giving this news, but I decided to say it straight. I feel a bit sorry that such a great talent never fully unfolded because of the nightlife. But on the other hand, who are we pitying? Who among us earns over £15 million per year? There are certainly no poor people here. Besides, let's be without hypocrisy. None of us are without sin, and many in their youth partied so hard it was embarrassing. The difference is just that we aren't filmed by paparazzi. I think he won't stay at City, that's a fact. Most likely, there will be a new loan or even a contract termination by mutual consent. Where will we see Jack next season? My favorite is West Ham. It is the perfect club for him. London, fans who adore bad boys, and a style of play where he can be the main star. As an alternative, a romantic return to Aston Villa or a move to MLS, where his media presence is valued more than discipline. So, the question for you, in which club do you think Grealish will play next season? Write in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you think.